Hi guys, so this is another one of the basic car maintenance series videos. I've got a fuel filter here for this X3 E83 BMW, and I'm going to try and fit it. First of all, I've got to find out where it is. Now, fuel filters are something you don't change very often on cars. This car is recommended every 50,000 miles. This car's done 100,000 miles. I changed it at 50,000 miles, so I'm going to change it again now. I think that it's under the centre of the car, and I think it's probably under this cover here. So I'll pop you over there and undo these bolts either side of it and see if we can drop it down. As you saw when I moved you around there, the car is on an axle stand. It's on the jack as well. I'm pretty confident it's not going to go anywhere, and I'm not going to die. As with all these videos, the risk is yours, not mine. Don't do anything silly, and hopefully no harm will come to you. I seem to have lost one of my sockets. They've got 8mm metal ones the other side. Exciting. 8mm. Have you ever wondered why some people like grovelling around in the filth under cars, other people don't? Me too. Let me know if you find out. Some of us are just a bit wired a bit different to others, I suppose. We're just a bit strange. Different. Right. That. Sometimes the genius is astonishing. Look at this here. Look at that. That is the diesel filter, which is exactly what I wanted to find. So I'm rather pleased about that. There's a couple of bolts on these bands which I'm going to undo. Feels like a 10mm. Maybe not. Maybe it's got the longest. There's an extremely long thread on it. The other problem, of course, is that since it was about 6 years ago I did this, I don't actually remember how much of a blooming mess it makes. Right. Let's have a quick look at the other filter, see what we've got. Ooh, exciting. And it can only go one way round. Got a clampy thing that goes on the bottom with a split pin that goes sort of around some grooves. And that end is just a plugged end. It's exactly the same size and it's there. There, you can see that kind of is the same. That goes up to there. Definitely the right one. Sorry, a bit tricky video making under a car on a jack. That's why videos done on ramps are so much easier, but it's proving the point that we can do it on a jack and axle stand, which is the whole point. Right. There's a Jubilee clip at this end. Looks like my handiwork. that needs a screwdriver to undo it. So I think what I'll do is get that Jubilee clip undone and see how much of a mess it starts to make. This end I can get off by undoing it. As I say, I'm slightly worried about the amount of fuel that's going to piss out of here when I undo it. Right. Some mopping up equipment. My old, my trusty kitchen roll, my mug from tea. It gets really serious. Really don't want diesel all over my drive. So let's put some of this up here. Those these cat strips. If they come. Do this Jubilee clip. Hey, I just had a great idea. Why don't I get a little clamp or a pair of mole grips, put on that pipe to stop all the fuel peeing back down at me. That sounds like genius, doesn't it? I'm gonna go and get some. I'm actually gonna use this G clamp rather than a pair of mole grips. I've decided that it might do a better job of stopping the flow. Tricky to get it on there. Obviously I don't want to damage the pipe, so I've just got to squeeze it enough to stop the flow and not anymore. It's pretty tight. I think that'll probably do it. Right, I've got a bowl here, which would be better than my old mug. I think there are, worth pointing out, there are two assumptions I'm making here. First is that this connector at the end, which has got an electrical connection on it, is a solenoid, and it will be stopping fuel coming from the tank, and therefore I won't have 60 litres of diesel pouring all over me. And the other assumption is that the clamp at the other end here is working, and so whatever diesel is in the line going up to the engine won't come back. But I'm less worried about that. Even if it does, it shouldn't be much. I'm going to take off this end first. That will tell me if the diesel's coming through the filter, out of the filter, from the engine, from the tank. Just using a screwdriver to ease the pipe at the end. There we go. There is absolutely nothing coming out of the pipe, and there is absolutely nothing coming out of the filter, which is absolutely brilliant, frankly. So the next job is to take the clip off this other end here. Again, I can get a screwdriver. Gosh, the wind's getting up. Ooh, windy. Let's see if I can get the clip out here. Get this screwdriver, which which I can. It smells, I can start using. Right, it's now dripping out the end of the filter into this bucket, which means that I've broken the seal by taking that clip out. So what I'm essentially doing now, I think, is emptying the filter. Since the filter is only a finite size, yeah, it should stop dripping, and it has. So that's great. I tip it down a bit. A bit more, not a lot. So that's really, really good news. I managed to do this job without getting diesel everywhere so far. Big CCC. Let's get that clip all the way out there if I can. Okay. So I'm going to take this. Oh, sorry about that. Let's put a piece of rag under there. Take this clip off. That's the clip that goes through it. This end is still on. I'm going to see if I can just ease something. Maybe do a bit of twisting. Alright. Okay. Oh, massive flood. Massive flood. Here's a flood. Coming out the back of the filter. Okay. So, word to the learned. Diesel stays in the filter until you tip it backwards, and then it all comes out all over your drive. Joy of joys. I'm going to soak this up using my kitchen raft very quickly. I don't want to ruin my drive. Keeping my finger over the back of this electric connection, just in case it isn't fully closed, because some come out of there. Got diesel all over my hands now, which will stink for about 4 years. But diesel does that. This is where being on a ramp would be brilliant. Off me. Me under this. I'm letting this go, and bugger is coming out now, which is great. Cleaned it off the drive, so it won't soak in and destroy the tarmac, which is good. Fuel really doesn't do your tarmac drive any good, so really important to soak that up quickly. Petrol's even worse for it. Alright, I've got my bowl here. My filter here. Oh, there's a washer in there. Interesting. Assume that there's going to be another washer with new filter. Stinky, stinky, stinky poo. Right, well, let's get out of here and see if I can make some sense of all of this. Right, following that rather exciting moment, we've now got the filter out. There it is. It was tricky getting the pipe off because it's got a bulged end. This was the back end where all the diesel poured out when it dropped down. So beware of that when you take one out of your car. It will pour all of that all over you, as it did me. And I ended up with this much towel to soak it up. This filter, seal was in the back end. That was in here, and the end just pushed in there, and then there was the clip that went through there. So if I look at this, I've got a similar arrangement. Obviously these clamps are needed to come off, and in here, as is traditional with Bosch, they have provided the seal, which is jolly good of them. I'm delighted they've done that. So this should be a similar thing. It doesn't actually say on there what the old one was. Out. All stuff out. It's very exciting. Doesn't say that it's Bosch though. A couple of little Torx clamps to hold these brackets on, which I'll have to undo. Let's get my... Okay, that's going to be probably one of those. Yep, it is. Probably line these up just from, if it's clean underneath, it might show me where to put them. I can just do the same thing again. Also remember where it is. And like that. If I get this in exactly the same place, they should line up when I get back under the car. Fixings where these brackets go obviously needs to be a certain distance apart. Like that. This one, trying to get the same rotation as well because there's two lugs on this. I want to be able to get the clip on it when I'm under the car. And it was quite easy to get the clip off and that screwdriver on the back of it. If it were pointing up or down, it might make it a lot harder. So I'm just trying to make it line up the same way around with these brackets. I've got a bit of diesel on there. Okay. Oh look. Wonder what I chose last time. Breathe. Creature of habit, that's what I am. It's because this has got a flanged back end and that one doesn't. So that's different. I wonder why. Hopefully it will fit under the car. We have the filter in the end. enough oil on my hands for an army of filters. Let's get that to sit into there. And when I push it home, it'll be in the right place. And that end obviously needs to come off as well, which I'll do. The diesel and the rags, which I've obviously got in these in this bowl here, I'll dispose of it again in a safe way. I've got the oil from the oil filter change, and I'll mix the diesel with that. That'll all go into the waste oil container down the tip, local tip, regular, that sort of thing. But for now, I'll throw my rubbish in my big box of stuff to dealt with. Get back under that car. Right, let's see if I can fit this filter. And I can now see the lugs that it actually goes onto as well. That is out of the way. Let's just pop this onto here. There it goes. That was easy. Get this clip, which you remember, which will need to go into the grooves. Maybe more of a challenge. Look it in a bottom groove. And the grooves, and the grooves. 2, 3. Go on in, you want to. Squeeze it together. Through it comes. That's good. Looks like we're in. Then at the other end, up here, I got my clamp pipe, and the clamp pipe sits up higher than that. So if you can see it, it's here, and that's the end there. I'm going to take that cover off the end. Oh, just like that, yeah. Ease that off with a screwdriver. There it is, nice shiny end. Obviously we don't want that contaminated because that's going to go up to the engine. See if I can get that pipe over the end. Of course what I need now is a Jubilee clip, which I don't have because I've knackered the one that came off it. I'm going to go and get another Jubilee clip. Right, just been to the shed and I found this, which is a Jubilee clip. Rather interestingly, it was a Jubilee clip in a box that once contained two two Jubilee clips. Yeah, it was in a box that once contained 2 Jubilee clips. I suspect it's been there for the last 6 years and was the partner to the one that was on here from last time. So that being the case, it should be the right size. So I'll put this pipe onto here. It's going on a lot easier than it was coming up. Is in the way of it. Squeeze it on there. Let's go on there. Yeah. I'll get my screwdriver. Tighten up the Jubilee. I put some grease on it this time. It might not go as rusty. There you go. I put grease on it last time. It just went rusty anyway. Hard to tell after 6 years. tightened up. Don't want to over tighten that. It's a tricky thing to estimate, the old Jubilee clips. Let's do this clamp. Alright, that's good. And see if I can get the thing to fit on its mountings. Right, so that's all back in, successful mission. I think what I might do is just start the car, get the fuel line pressurised, then check that it's not leaking, just before I put this cover back on. So I'm going to do that now. Looking good. Always reassuring to not have any lights on the dashboard as well, which is good. There's the cover up. Just going to check the bolts and nuts and things I've got here, just in case I've got any spare. I've got my 3 for the other side of there, which we've got, and I've got 2 to go on this side, and I've got a knackered old Jubilee clip which came off, which I don't need anymore. So I'm going to put the nuts on this side loose, just to keep it up out of the way. Now the ones for your side are an 8, so I'll put the 8 socket there. Usually, it occurs to me I'm now lying in the area where all the diesel went. So if there's any left on drive, it's going to be soaked into my jumper. That'd be nice. One for the washing machine, I think. Back. Okay. Ugh. Mushroom. Hello. Right, this was 10mm. These are the funny plastic nuts that don't go rusty because they're made of plastic. But obviously if you tighten them too hard, they'll strip. Right, now I'm going to gather all my bits. Take the stand out. Don't need that there anymore. There we go. That's how you change the fuel filter on an X3 E83. A bit more work than I expected, but there we go, all done.